Light from a few can be a beacon to many. Welcome to Star Wars Hopecast.
Hello and welcome to the Star Wars Hopecast, a Star Wars The Old Republic podcast. I'm Vyrigan.
I'm Scya.
And this week we welcome our special guest, Aravail, our crafter and creator of the fantastic videos to include the video uploads of this very podcast. Welcome to the show, Aravail.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
It's good to have you with us today. So, we have Aravail for a very special reason, and we're going to get to that a little later in our galactic gossip. But first, let's get to what we always do, our time and game. And Scya, once again, let's start with you.
I am going to vent and rage about what I did not get to do this week. I was really looking forward to another round of hard mode raiding this week, but my patcher decided to take 2 hours to patch, so I didn't get to raid. I think Aravail did, though. How did that go?
It went pretty well. We got the first 4 bosses down, and we actually have a continuation scheduled for tomorrow night, and hopefully we can get down Coruscant.
So I got to cheer them on from the sidelines of my phone while my computer patched. What I did do during the week was I started to level a Guardian, and this is one of the quintessential stories of SWTOR. Most people say it's the thing that's most like KOTOR 3, whatever that should be. And I'm not really liking it so far. It's also one of the ones that people seem to really like, and I think it has a lot to do with the specific character that I chose. I decided to play 1, an alien, and 2, a female character. I noticed most people who play Guardians actually play the male version, and I'm having a lot of problems with the voice of the character. She's just like, la-da-da, I'm just, saving the world, whatever, I'm not super gruff and cool. I kind of got spoiled by the Trooper story, which has the same voice actor as a Mass Effect female player character, and she just sounds so gruff and ready to go take on the world, and she sounds like she's probably seen a few things in her time and fought a few battles. But the Jedi Knight just sounds like, yeah, I'm fresh out of high school, I'm getting ready to go to college. And the other part I'm having trouble with is the fact that she's an alien. I'm just not connecting with that Togruta spirit there. Have you guys tried it out, the Togruta?
I remembered you mentioned last time that was one of the things we were talking about was having an alien as you don't feel like you connect to it, and I have the same issue. I have that alien agent. I made a sniper, and she's level 6 on Hutta. I ain't touched her.
I haven't done Togruta. I have a couple alien characters, but no Togruta, because I'm out of character slots at this point, so no use paying cartel coins for something I can't use.
I've got a Twi'lek, and I'm finding Twi'lek is okay, but Togruta with the big head horns and kind of ambiguous hairline. The Montrals, oh my goodness. So sorry. I didn't get to raid in hard mode, which I was looking forward to, but I did do something else really, really cool. So in SWTOR, there's the operations for 8 people, but there's also a few secret bosses that you don't encounter unless you do very specific steps, and one of the coolest secret bosses is the Dreadful Entity, and this one requires a lot of work to get. There's a boss that wanders around in Section X, and he's the big Dreadtooth guy, and if you give him some secret potions, then he gets super, super strong, and you need lots of people to kill him, and then he drops something special, and use that something special to go into another operation and summon a giant sparkly monster, and he's quite a hard fight. Even 5 levels past when he first came out, he was 55, and we're all level 60 now, and a part of the mechanics of his fight is there's no timer on it. You can take as long as you want, but he drops circles on the ground, and when you run out of space, that's when you're done. And this is a really cool boss to do, because we have a lot of difficulty getting enough people online at a time to do big group events, and you should have around 16 people to do this, but we finally did, and we haven't done this since months and months and months ago, and we have so many new people, and so many people were excited to try it out, including Vyrigan. Vyrigan, what'd you think about it?
It was awesomely amazing and then terrible at the same time. Dreadtooth, not difficult anymore. Figured that out, even with 10 stacks of this magical potion. But the Dreadful Entity is a tough fight if you're a melee DPS. And I mean tough. Those circles of lightning are huge. If he drops a lightning, it ticked for like 2,500 damage a tick. And I only have like 50,000 damage. And it's like, tick, tick, tick. I'm like, oh my gosh, I had to keep running out of that. And then the circle is too big for you to be up in melee range. So what ended up happening would be, so here's what happened. and so the tank would drag them forward just a smidge. So we're out of the circle. So I would run up. So when the lightning was down, I would pop my dots that I can do from about 10 feet out, and so I hit them all. And I just kind of edged up to the circle. And then when we got forward, I hit him with my lightsaber, and then I backed up and dotted and redotted. And it was inefficient because I definitely was reapplying dots before they'd gone completely off. But if I didn't do it, by the time the next time came around, I would never get a chance to. I'd actually miss dot time. So, but it worked. It was great. I'd never done it before. It was my first time. I had the cool mask, so I was able to show that.
Oh yeah, the mask. Part of the event is that you also have to fight the big monster in the beginning, and you have to get everybody in your group a special mask. It's called the Dreadful Mask, and it's really creepy. Vyrigan will put it in the show notes, but it looks like it's made of wood and gold inlays, and you've got like sharp little jagged teeth, and it's very, very unique item. And so it's cool just to get everything, that special item, all by itself, especially because you need to get it for 16 people. That means you need to defeat the boss quite a few times, and you have to prepare everyone in the week or so before you get into it. And I was really happy to be able to share this boss with my guildmates, because it's not because you need so many people and because you need all the prep to work up to it. It's not really something most people will ever even get to see or even know about if they're not in a guild that's working towards it, or if they're really, really paying attention to their servers' PvE channels. So Vyrigan was not the only first one to go in there, and that was really cool to share.
That was awesome. So, with that was actually the nice ending to that time, because that was really actually a really cool experience. So, Aravail, how about your last few weeks? It's been about a few weeks since the last episode, so what have you been up to?
Well, with the expansion on the horizon, I've kind of been in a get ready and wait routine, because there's a lot of things I wanted to do before the expansion. There was like leveling a bunch of new characters and decorating my strongholds, and they're kind of all done. So my list is all checked off, and now I'm just waiting for the expansion to arrive. The one thing I wanted to do that's on the list is hunting datacrons for all my tunes, but because they're releasing legacy datacrons, I can't even do that because it would be probably redundant later on.
Yeah. Which actually will be a nice thing, though, for me, because I haven't done any.
Yeah, I've done them on like 2 tunes. I was going to do them on the rest, but it's like, well, there's not really a point now because they're going to get them anyway, hopefully.
What kind of things did you have on your list? I know you wanted to decorate your Yavin strongholds.
Yep,
you wanted
that's
to
all
level
decorated.
some characters.
That's pretty much it. For ranked PvP, I was trying to get a few tunes up to like different tiers I was aiming for with each of them. So I got 2 of my tunes to gold, 1 to silver, and I've been kind of debating whether or not to try to get the 3rd tune to gold, but there's only like a month left, and I'm trying to kind of spend some time doing other things. So
not be burnt out.
Right, exactly. So that when the new expansion comes out, I'll have more energy for it then. So I've been doing some regular PvP, but I haven't done ranked in a week or 2, and I'm not sure if I will do more before the end of the season or not. Kind of just depends on if it's popping and how I feel. And then other than that, the only thing we've really been doing is we do our hard mode raids every week, as Sai mentioned before. And right now the boss we're stuck on is Koratani, who is quite difficult, it turns out. We actually got to the last phase of the fight, and we got the boss down to 12%, and he leaves, and you win the fight at 9%. So we were literally 3% away, and then he enraged, did an AoE, and it did like 50k to all of us. It was like the most disappointing thing ever, because we all thought we were about to clear it, and then nope, we just all died. So hopefully we'll get him sometime in the next week or 2, because I know we all really want to get that fight down.
Might help if the fight itself stops bugging out every other try.
That too, yeah. That first phase can be awfully buggy with positioning and all, so we've had some issues with that, but fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Besides that, that's about it.
All right, and it's a shame that's still such a problem. Now, they did do this 2 gig patch, by the way. That was the reason why Sai couldn't do it. Also include a few improvements to the game experience as far as like optimization, that kind of stuff. And that actually, I'm seeing an improvement on my little laptop that I play on. So that's actually a nice thing, but obviously, apparently the Koratani bug is still a lovely bug.
Yeah, there's a few little bugs with that fight, and if you're lucky enough to miss one of them, then another one will probably get you later on. But you kind of have to hope all the bugs lined up and everybody does their job, and just like all the stars have to align to get to that last phase.
There were some very funny bugs introduced with the graphical patch. Some things like Soa's platforms in Eternity Vault are invisible.
Oh yeah, I saw some today too. There was in Alderaan, the sky is now like all black. It's like a nighttime Civil War, and then the bridges on Void Star become invisible sometimes. Like you're running over this giant cavern, and
That
there's
sounds
nothing
really
underneath
cool.
your feet, but there actually is a bridge there, so it's weird.
And there's also some of the NPCs are wandering around and they're stuck in their low frame rate animation as if you're seeing them from really far away, but they're just really jerky and really funny looking.
Oh no.
Actually, it was funny. I was on Reddit and I saw the thing with the SOAS platforms as like Nightmare Mode EV confirmed. So, I thought it was cool. As for my time in game, so I have strange motivations on why I play the way I play and what I do. And we've already talked about the fact that I don't play Twi'lek anymore because their brains are in their Leku. And I find that creepy. I cannot seem to get behind a Togruta, even a girl one, even though I can flirt with everybody in God's creation. I can't get behind that either. So, when I transferred servers, I made a new Vyrigan. And that Vyrigan took the spot of old Vyrigan. And I used to say formerly my Vyrigan, and his name was Nicholas. I say was because I fixed that mistake. I could not get behind new Vyrigan or old Vyrigan because he is my main. So here's what ended up happening. I went ahead and moved new Vyrigan off the server back to Jungma, just for a little
Get
bit.
back there.
And I had a free name change, so I changed Nicholas back to who he should be. He is now Vyrigan again. My main is back. And then I brought Vyrigan back, the Sage, and I named him like Dravik or something, and I haven't touched him because frankly, my goal when I first started playing was to have the 8 core classes and the mirrors on the opposite factions. I have done this. As a matter of fact, I just got all 8 to 55, which is Galactic Mastery, is the achievement I just received.
Ta-da!
So now it's just getting the last of them to get to 60. But I haven't played a lot of Star Wars because, thank you, Aravail. If you follow Aravail on YouTube, Aravail, he does Let's Plays. And one of the Let's Plays he started was something I actually enjoyed when I was younger, but I only played the first one, and that is Mass Effect. With the comparison that the new Knights of the Fallen Empire, that story pulls a lot like Dragon Age and Mass Effect, I was like, sure, why not? And I had an old copy of Mass Effect. I decided to buy the triple with the 3-in-1 from Origin. It was on sale. And so I've finished Mass Effect 1. I'm working on Mass Effect 2. And it's
They're
just
all so good.
They are so good. Mass Effect 1 was such a good game, and it was that again. I changed a few things up from the first time I played long ago, because I'm older and wiser now. And so that's just been taking so much of the goodness. And one of the things that I attempted to do was the McKeb staged weekly. I did not realize that you have to finish McKeb on every character you want to do the stage weekly on.
Yep.
Wrong answer. I have finished
I
McKeb.
found out the hard way too.
I finished McKeb on 1 Republic, Vyrigan, and 1
Yep.
Imperial, Kavik. I'm not going to do it.
No, you can do it. You have 3 weeks.
I'm not. I could. I might.
You should.
I'll
I
be
got
right
really
back.
lucky because
gazebo.
I was looking at my list of achievements because I already had some of them just from doing them when I was like grinding the rep for it earlier. And I looked through and there were a few I didn't have, and I went on Dolphy's guide and like I tried to map it out, and I actually realized if I did it exactly the right way, I could hit every single one I needed on just one playthrough. So I only had to spend 1 night doing it, and then I got the achievement. And I was worried I'd have to do it like 2 or 3 times, but I got lucky there.
So I may look into it, or I may work. I have 1 character on each side that's close because I had it. I didn't learn the trick about pretty much getting through. By the time you end Corellia, you're like 54. I didn't have that in my earlier characters, so there's a couple that have done a lot of McKeb, just need a few things left. But I actually did, because we're working on a few things with Conquest. I got back in some GSF, and wow, I forgot how many ships that Vyrigan had. It's actually really good on the server. It pops really quickly, within a minute every time. And so that was nice to get back in some of that. I missed doing the fighter, mainly because people don't get a chance to chat. If they're typing a paragraph, they're not flying their ship, so that's not how it works. So anyway, that was what I did in the last couple of weeks. Let's get into the news in the guild. And Scya, I think you have something you want to bring to us in regards to the Vessels of Despair Imperial flagship.
Yeah, when we moved over, we definitely did not have anywhere near enough funds to buy an Imperial flagship, and we also talked a couple episodes back about how we moved our Imperial side to more of a alt guild than a fully functioning guild, and we just didn't have the funds, we didn't really have the interest in buying it, but a couple people were saying it would be nice to have a flagship. It would be nice when I do play on my personal characters to get my personal conquests, and when we happen to do events like the Rakghoul boss or the things that only come along every once in a while, like the Gree event, to be able to summon people. And we took a look at our funds and we said, well, we have about 20 million out of 30 million saved up, and we will fund 15 million out of the remainder from our Republic side. But that means there's still 15 million sitting there. If anyone wants to donate and fill that up, we'll get a flagship. Obviously, no one has 15 million just sitting around, and a lot of our players joining us are very new, and they have like 30 credits to their name.
Are you sure no one has 15 million? I'm just thinking that I watched a video. I watched a video of a gentleman unlock the Yavin 4 stronghold with credits and have 15 million credits
just
left.
Like this week, I finally got all my credits back. It's taken me way longer than I should have to get those credits.
Okay, let me rephrase. No one has 15 million credits to put towards a flagship. And I had pretty much given up as a lost cause unless some rich millionaire from our guild decided to give all his Yavin 4 funds to buy a flagship. But our crafting officer actually had a really, really fantastic idea like a couple of months, about a month later. And we have prize tabs in our guild. They're just bank tabs that people have donated cool, expensive items that they've gotten along the way. Some of them were from people leaving the game and they just wanted to give something back before they left because they're like, well, I'm not going to use this stuff. I'd rather my guild enjoy it while I'm gone. And these prizes just kind of sit there because we like to play with each other more than anything else. We don't like promote our guild like, come join our guild, you get to win cool stuff every week. And so they mostly just sat there doing nothing. And especially on the Imperial side, we haven't hosted a contest or anything like that for probably over a year. And our crafting officer said, well, some of this stuff is pretty rare. We should sell on the G10. And I was like, sure, why not? Maybe we'll get like 1 million credits. And apparently some of the stuff was so rare that 1 tab's worth of bank items, which are still currently selling, and we still have some left, has raised over 15 million funds all by itself. So we get an Imperial flagship.
Nice.
Yay.
Hey, it's cool. It's going to be good. So we got the Imperial flagship, so hoorah. Is it going to be called the Ascension again?
I believe so, unless we're naming it ROH After Hours.
Why would we do that? Why would we do that?
That's for trouble.
It's the Imperial side. You gotta bring a little of your dark side.
Okay, that was about creepy. So there is the hopeful Ascension or the possible After Hours. The After Hours, sure. So that's a nice little piece of news. I do want to take a moment to mention our Guildie Frets, who has represented ROH well and represent Gunslingers as a whole with his Gunslinger project that was actually broadcast or mentioned on the Utini cast. So he's worked up this giant kind of spreadsheet.
The king of spreadsheets.
It is massive, but it is pretty much help me out, guys.
It's a way to see if you had XYZ gear and you're XYZ level, and you're fighting XYZ thing, what would be your max DPS, and what would be the way to best maximize your DPS? Because there's a lot of guides out there saying you should have this gear and use these abilities, but not any that say if you have this gear and can't make it better, like you've just started your character and you are level 60, but you haven't gotten the best gear in the game yet. What can you do to make the best of your situation?
Yeah, it'll give you the best rotation, the best stats. He has that thing all figured out.
When you see it like that, just boggled. It's huge. It's huge. I looked, I was like, oh God. This is why I'm kind of dumbstruck, because I'm like, I have a gunslinger, and I was like, oh God, this is massive. But it's cool. It's not like overwhelming. It's going to be updated with 4.0. He's getting some people. He's reaching out to people who are gunslingers who want to help. So that's going to be very exciting. One of the things I'm kind of excited about with the change in 4.0 is the take this keybind and share it option.
Oh yes.
Yay!
Oh
Thank
my
God.
gosh. I'm tired of making a new character and starting from scratch.
Yep.
So now you can export and import keybinds and save them locally to your machine and import them into another character. And, you know, it would have been great when we transferred all our characters to Ebon Hawk if we'd had this feature.
or just like 2 years ago. Like I have a whole page in my notebook that I write down what every single keybind is, so I can just go through whenever I make a new tune and do that. It takes like an hour to do that whenever I make a new tune. It's horrible. And never again. It's awesome
Does it include the chat tabs or just the keybinds?
No, but there's apparently a way how to do that, how to copy your chat tabs. I don't remember how, though.
Oh, duh. It is a file that's generated in the...
Yeah.
I didn't notice that. There's a file generator.
It's done by your character name, because I realized when I renamed a character on Zhengma as like a placeholder name, he had all the same chat channel as my old transferred character had, because they had the same name.
I was really
That was
excited
cool.
to see that, because I saw a bunch of characters that I'd like forgotten about. I just made and deleted because I didn't want to play them, but I saw lots of good names I want to reuse now.
And the last thing for news in the guild, we have... so, I do not... And this is kind of a personal / news. Zhengma is having a rough time right now. This is the dark days of
so
Zhengma.
sad, Vyrigan.
And I gotta say why. So Bad Feeling, if you listen to the Bad Feeling podcast, caution, this is an explicit podcast, not us, but them. They did a fantastic episode of the server dating game with like the music and everything. These guys are amazing. They really are funny. If you can handle the foul language and constant jokes about various genitalia, they're great. They're actually very funny. They're very casual, so it's one of the reasons I'm drawn to them, because they're in no way hardcore players. But they did this dating game, and they've decided to move to another server, and I will not say which one in case you haven't heard the episode. You want to let the suspense go to the end.
No.
But after listening to the episode, I decided to go and take a look at Zhengma. I left my old troop behind, a Cathar. As I say, I couldn't get behind him, so I left him behind. I've never felt bad about a character like I felt about this Cathar. I went to the fleet on a Friday night. There were 37 people on the fleet. Total. On the Republic fleet on Zhengma on a Friday night. I was like, oh, it's a ghost town. It is dead. General chat was empty for like 3 minutes. There was no one talking. I was like, wow. Zhengma is done. So there's very few people left. I feel bad for you guys even still there. If they're good with that environment, I'm one of those where I'm pleased we decided to make the jump and go in the earlier days, because it was going to go this way regardless, unfortunately, because people follow the trends, and this is the trend. So, but I feel bad for those who are still on Zhengma and have not, either because they have friendship loyalties or whatever, and they're kind of stuck there. If they want to look to play with other people, it's been a miracle. Just last week, it's like, I just want to do some GSF. Ding! Oh my god, it popped. It's a nice way to play. So
The only people I know specifically who are staying behind in terms of bigger guilds, there's Penumbral on the Imperial side, and there's Alpha Company on the Republic side. So if you're still stuck on Zhengma and you're not interested in moving yet, or you can't move for whatever reason, definitely check out the guild recruitment forums on Zhengma. There is some people playing still, and your best bet of actually finding people to play with is to join a guild, because then you'll get a really good idea of when people you can play with will actually be on.
Pretty sure True Republic and Nightmare Squadron are both there too.
Oh yeah, Nightmare Squadron is too.
is it? I thought they had a portion limit moved, I think, is what I heard.
They
Maybe I
are
was mistaken.
At least some
recruiting
of them are
for
still
ranked
there.
ops and conquest according to the forums.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
That's good. And for those who are sticking around, I'm glad that they are still fighting the good fight. I'm happy for our decision to move to Ebonhawk, because it's been a great transition, personally. So, with that, that's all the kind of stuff that happened in the guild, or that affects the guild. And so let's get into our Galactic Gossip topic. And this, of course, is why we have Aravail. Usually when we have a special guest, it's for this very purpose. Aravail is a master crafter. He has been on Conquest since the very beginning. And as I said earlier, he is one of the wealthiest players in our guild. One of. We have several players
Yeah, there are a few that are.
who make big money in the crafting game. And I don't craft, so I'm poor as dirt. This is and I just reiterate, this is the guy who opened up Yavin 4 completely with credits. And it was funny watching the video when we opened the little rooms on the sides, like, gosh, that's really expensive. Oh well, click.
Well,
And
that's what the credits were for. That's why I was saving them.
And you still have, what, 40 million credits? 50 million credits by the time you're done?
Don't say it on the podcast. People will ask him for money.
I'm gonna get whispers now.
He don't get money. It's okay. He gives money to the good causes, to the guild. But
This is true.
it was funny. I think you told me a story once, Aravail, where someone asked you for money. You said, "No, I ain't got any," and you were wearing your wealthy tag.
No, I was trying to haggle with somebody, and I was like, "Oh, that 3 million is kind of a lot. Can I do it for 2?" They're like, "Dude, you have the wealthy title. 3 million is nothing." It's like, "Oh, yeah."
That's like walking on the street and someone asks you for change, and you're wearing like a gold top hat and like an ivory cane.
I'm sorry, I can't afford it, good sir.
It's like the Mr. Monopoly.
Right.
Do you have change for a 5? So, with that, our Galactic Gossip today is going to be about crafting, conquests, and coffee. So, there's a couple changes coming, official changes. We're not going to look into the stuff on the that's been data mined because that changes like the wind, and I don't want to use that as gospel. But we're looking at, there was a major change coming to crafting and conquest, but we want to look at crafting as a whole and what some of the changes we're looking at, especially with the companions for the 4.0 changes, and maybe if you have never crafted, getting to that crafting game. So, first off, let's look at conquests. So, Aravail, I'm going to start with you. I'm going to ask you, what do you think conquests have done to crafting from their inception? How do you feel conquest has done good or bad for the crafting game as a whole?
Well, since they first implemented it, I think it's definitely made crafting a lot more useful than it was, because you've always had sort of like the top tier of crafting, like the highest tier mats be useful for making gear or augments or augment kits, stuff that people and characters actually use. But for the lower level mats, you could make gear for people while they were leveling their alts or people who were leveling their characters for the first time. But on the whole, those didn't really sell as well, just because people, if you get some level 40 gear, next thing you know, you're level 43 and your drops are better than the gear you just spent all your money buying. So a lot of people really didn't bother farming the lower level mats or using them for much. So when they added the war supplies, though, for Conquest, that gave you a reason to actually farm all the different tiers of low level and mid level and even the upper level mats. So everyone was using all their gathering skills to get all different kinds of mats, and they could all be converted to war supplies, which then got you points for Conquest. So Conquest really gave you a reason to, even if you didn't really craft before, it at least gave you a reason to start gathering mats, because you could use them as a guild to help get more points and conquer planets.
Or sell them for mucho dinero.
Or if you weren't in a guild, you could sell them to people who were in guilds who were... I know some of our guild mates, when there were some of those really close weeks in Conquest, they would spend tons of money, and I was like, no, those aren't worth 3,000 credits apiece, don't buy them. But they just wanted to win so badly, they weren't gonna chance it.
So, I actually have a question. This never occurred to me to this very moment. You make war supplies. What do you do with them when you've finished?
That is a very good question. Well, you make the individual war supplies, and then you can take one of each type. There's 5 different types, 2 for scavenging, 2 for archaeology, and 1, for some reason, there's just 1 for bioanalysis. They should have made 2, but they didn't. So those are pretty much worthless because you have so many of them. But if you take one of each type, you can make them into an invasion force, which most weeks will get you a one-time higher bonus. Like this week, it's 2,000. But and you can only do that once per account. But they also count as a regular invasion, as a regular type of war supply. So you can make them infinitely as long as you have the mats for them, and still get the regular amount of points. But they take longer to craft, and unfortunately, once you make those invasion forces, those are all but worthless, at least in the current game. So you can make them into those dark projects, which can buy like decorations and things, but you just have so many invasion forces floating around and war supplies that people aren't using that they're really not worth anything these days. I have mine stored up just in case they become worthwhile one day, but there's no indication that's going to happen.
Yeah, the dark projects themselves are really cool because you can buy the decorations that are giant ships for your house, or you can buy some really cool computer panels, the walker mount if you happen to have won a conquest. But the materials for those, the materials that aren't the war supply materials, are really expensive.
Right, those are the limiting factors. Because like everyone has like hundreds of invasion forces, and then like
a
couple had energy nodes and a couple of whatever the other things are.
I'm hoping that in 4.0 they'll give a different option to do something with the invasion forces, because they have done a good job, at least with Conquest, very specifically going back, finding the crafting mats that weren't getting any love and turning them into something new, which was basically what Conquest crafting was. That's probably the reason that bioanalysis only has the one type of war supply, because they picked and chose which materials were not getting used.
Well, the thing is, they have, like, the way you craft them, there's different recipes for them, so it seems like these like could have broken it in half, but for some reason, I guess maybe they just wanted to have 5 in total for making invasion forces. Maybe they couldn't do 6. I don't know. I'm not sure what the mechanics behind that is, but that's what they did.
So they created a system to, and it's obvious from the way the Conquest implemented that they did not they did not expect what a lot of guilds have now done for their primary way of winning, be you a large guild or a small guild. Please, please tell me of the crafting bomb.
So a crafting bomb is basically when you take tons of mats, which you stored up in some cases for weeks just in your cargo bay, just farming and farming and farming mats. And then all your crafters load up with, you queue them up with invasion forces, you log out and do whatever else you want to do, play a different tune or go outside or take a nap, whatever you're doing in your life. And then when you come back and log in, all of those invasion forces you crafted contribute points to the guild. So if you do like a rotation through all your characters and they were all queued up with crafting mats, and this is especially true if you have a high personal stronghold bonus, because that can up to double the points you get, you can drop hundreds of thousands of points in a couple minutes. So a lot of guilds...
And that's just one person if you've got multiple people in your guild doing it.
Exactly. So we call them crafting nukes because you could be behind by 300,000 points, and then if you log in with all those crafting bombs, then you can shoot ahead by 200, and then a couple hours later your opponents will do the exact same thing, and then they'll shoot ahead by a couple hundred. So it can be really dynamic if everybody's dropping these bombs back and forth.
And it can be really, really scary. For example, let's say you have been working all week to gain 6 million points because you don't want to worry about fighting your next opponent who only has 100k. That person could have queued everything up on all their characters with multiple people doing it the very morning of and suddenly beat you out of your 6 million.
Yeah, that's why it's good to have we always tried to leave like a margin for error. Even if we were ahead by like 500,000, we'd be like, nope, let's queue up everybody just in case. And we would normally have like a night watch person who would log in at like 5 minutes before the reset and take a look at the opposition and see if they were still that far behind. And if they had started catching up over the night, they would call everybody else on the phone to be like, quick, wake up, log in, drop your crafting bomb so we can get back into the lead again.
And with all our crafting bombs, we could talk about a bit what we're doing this week. So we have taken a bit of a break from Conquest because when you participate in a Conquest with the objective to win first place, it has to be an all-out thing. You can't just let's go win Conquest, yeah. Because if you're up against another guild that's actually trying, you need to make sure everybody in your guild is really on board with actually doing the activities to gain Conquest points and really on board with committing their materials, which can be worth millions of credits depending on the week and how many points you're going for, and just putting those down on the line, because if you win second place, it's really not worth it at all.
Yeah,
and
second and
this
tenth
week,
is the same thing.
This week we decided, since there's going to be some changes coming to Conquest, we'll go back into Conquest for a bit. Not necessarily as hardcore as we did when we first started, but as a chance to not waste our hoarded materials and a chance for some of our newer people to try out the Conquest system. And this week has been pretty insane. We were kind of hoping to get an easy week, just drop a couple crafting bombs right at the beginning and scare any competition away, and it looked like it worked until suddenly another guild started doing crafting bombs.
That's like the story of our lives too. Like every single week we would get the tough planet and other girls would be cruising along and they'd have like no competition, and we would be the one we'd choose the one planet that actually ended up being a challenge. That happened to us so many times.
What's the highest? What was the really, really high one we did? Was that like 15
It was like 15 or 16
points?
mil. It was up there because that was the week we had
That
like
was
everything
insane.
had bonuses. You could queue in infinite invasion forces, and those were each like 4,000 apiece. So that skyrocketed everybody's point values.
And like how I was saying, it can be very scary. We won that week with our 15, 16 million points,
Yeah,
but then
we
the
had
other
tried
guild
for it.
probably did almost as much as us, and they just wasted probably, oh gosh,
Right.
could you give a credit estimate on that?
Oh, I don't know how much they'd be in credits. I'm not sure how much they sold for, but definitely a lot. Probably, I mean, if you sold them for like current prices, it'd probably be at least 100 mil.
Yeah.
That's just a ballpark guess, but
If I remember correctly,
Yeah.
that week we actually we were still on Jungma. We topped the leaderboard across all servers for the highest amount of conquest points. Period.
probably.
No, period. It was like, I don't remember who put that. It might have been something that Org put out or something.
There's a website that tracks it that somebody does.
We're broken on it now because we moved servers.
Oh, yeah.
But we had the most. Period. It was like, wow. But so I don't craft, so that's why I was doing GSF. GSF actually gives 1,000 conquest points, 500 of which are affected by your conquest bonus. And as a reminder, we talked about when we first did strongholds. That conquest bonus is worthwhile, but when we moved, I hadn't finished decorating my houses. So my Coruscant house and my Drummond house, because they're never going to be open to anyone, is just crap. Just
Same.
loaded.
That's not too a Minar, yep. My Tatooine and Arshada.
Yeah, my Narsh actually looks nice. But so you want those conquest bonus, and we're getting on the conquest wagon, and we seem to be doing. How are we doing anyway? I haven't even looked today.
We're winning right now.
yeah,
Who
a couple
knows
hours
by
ago
the
we were
time
ahead.
Sunday rolls around?
Today is Sunday.
Monday.
We have
Monday.
9 or 11 hours left.
So
10 and a
11
half at
hours
this point.
in
But we
this.
are ahead. So, and I have a bunch of crafters queued up now that I can log into if I need to. So, fingers crossed. I think we have this one.
This week's been really, really cool, actually. What I assumed would happen would be Aravail, as well as our crafting officer, would work together and just drop down a bunch of points, and everybody else would be like, not touching that with a 10-foot pole. That looks way too hard to bother trying to go against. And then we just win, and all the new people would be like, oh, awesome, I got a cool title. I really didn't have to do anything. But no, after we realized that they were going hard, we really got everyone on board. It's been really neat to see, because there's a bunch of tasks that you can complete that you wouldn't normally go and do. For example, there's go kill the boss on Tatooine, and if you're just wandering around, that's not exactly an event you're going to go do. And go kill the level 60 guards on Tatooine that guard the taxi points for the opposite faction, and all kinds of stuff like that. Just getting people together to do interesting stuff has been really nice.
Yeah, it's been really fun. A lot of people haven't even seen Conquest before because they're either coming back to the game after a long time or they're just playing the game for the first time. So it's been cool to see all them wanting to get involved too, and either doing heroics or doing PvP. Because PvP is a big one this week too. We're just doing whatever they can to earn points.
With all the questions from our newer people, it made me realize how ridiculously convoluted the conquest system is. How do planetary bonuses work? Oh, they double the amount of points on the original amount of points before you double them. How do stronghold
Intuitive.
bonuses work? You have to actually unlock all of the stronghold and actually fill it up with junk. What do you mean with junk? Well, just like you fill up your house with the trophies. It's a very
signs.
strange system.
Yeah.
But in its heart, Conquest brings old content, brings it back to new. Now, I am actually looking forward to an upcoming change with the overall lowering of the personal conquest goals, because unfortunately, even playing some GSF, I have not met my personal goal, which means that I will not get the title if we happen to come out number one. But that's okay.
I am very looking forward to that. So, for anyone who hasn't heard, the normal personal conquest point goal that you have to get is usually 35,000 points. If you don't get your 35,000 points, your guild can still win, but you personally will not get any rewards, you won't get any titles, you won't get any credits, nothing, nada. And that it'll be reduced to 25,000, so it'll be 10,000 points less and a lot more obtainable. I found myself often, I'll be at 21,000 points and be like, it's not even worth trying to get to 35. It's just not worth my time. But 25 is very obtainable and fairly easy even for a casual player, as long as they're willing to put in probably 3 hours of time total across a couple weeks, or across a week, as long
Pretty
as they
much.
supplement a bit with crafting.
Yeah, but and
Well,
see,
that's the thing though.
that is actually for me. And actually, the other thing, the big. We're going to talk about the actual legitimate change. So, and Gary, we made a huge post on this. What is the change, the legitimate change we've heard from the devs personally in crafting and conquest?
Well, so what they're doing is they are lowering the limits, like Scya said, which is great. But the part that's less great is they're taking away the repeatable war supply crafting, which will now make crafting war supplies a lot more useless unless they give them another purpose, which they might do.
No more crafting bombs. No
Yep.
more doing conquest by setting up crafting and walking away from your computer. So now the things you'll have to do are flashpoints, which aren't very repeatable. Some of the tasks, and PvP will be the really one that will be repeatable anymore, and GSF as well. So it's going to change the dynamic of the whole game a lot.
Yeah, my prediction is it's going to be mostly the larger PvP guilds winning at that point, because that's the one last form of repeatable content. And see, the real issue is that when this came out, there were, I think, 16 planets, although CZ198 is bugged. It's been bugged for a year and a half. They haven't fixed it, and don't get me started on that. But so you don't need CZ198 to conquer the galaxy, so the poor little moon. But if you conquer all of the other 15 planets, the idea was that each one gives you a title, like Conqueror of Tatooine, Conqueror of Ilum, Conqueror of the Black Hole, etc. And if you had all 15, you become the All Galaxy Conqueror as a legacy title. And our guild had maybe 12 or 13 of the original 15, and then 3.0 came out, and they added 2 new planets, Rishi and Yavin, to the rotation. And they made it so you had to get those 2 planets as well. So I guess the total was 17 planets then.
But it's bug!
Right, they added those 2 planets. They're only available in the exact same week, called Revenge of the Revenites, and they only had that come up in the rotation twice, like once in January and once in February, I think. And then after that, it never came back again. It's been like 8 or 9 months now. There's been no sign of Yavin, no sign of Rishi. So there are a ton of people in our guild who have all 15 of the original 15 planets we needed, even including CZ-198 as well, even though we don't need that one. But we just can't get the last 2 because they have never added Rishi or Yavin back to the rotation. So a bunch of us were saving up just tons and tons of mats. Like, I've been saving mats for months and months on end, hoping that one day when they did add Rishi or Yavin back, we could really go for it super hardcore and be almost guaranteed to get it. But then, of course, they announced that come 4.0, you can no longer use crafting mats, at least for that Revenge of the Revenites week. Some of the weeks will, by the sounds of it, still have, you can still use some crafting for the other objectives, but they won't be as high point values as they were. So basically it means we couldn't use the mats for our intended purpose, so now we're trying to use them just on any week we can, hopefully get some new people that missed the titles the first time, Conqueror of Tatooine or Conqueror of Voss, and hopefully put those mats to some use before they become almost worthless.
Well, and the mats are going to take a nosedive. And I actually kind of want to talk to you about the economy on that, but for the creation of war supplies, it's going. If I remember correctly, it says it's going to be one time, or is it Invasion Force something? It's going to be one time. There's going to be a higher toll, like 2,000.
Yeah, slightly higher. Because now it depends on the week. It varies. Like this, usually it's 500, and then you can double that with a planetary bonus, and then you can double it again. But it's not 2,000. It'd be 1,500 then, the way they do the math. So this week it's 1,500 per each war supply you craft if you have a maxed out stronghold bonus.
So, but on the plus side, we're not going to have a bajillion war supplies just clogging up and doing nothing. And this may be their solution, that they're not going to do anything with the war supplies. So it's like they don't want to make you don't want to make a bajillion of them because there's nothing to do with those. For a non-crafter like me, I actually kind of like this, because for the guild, I do like the KP, the running the Kraga's Palace for the 4,000 points there, and the what was it, the EC? What's that?
Explosive Conflict.
Thank you. Explosive Conflict was 2,000 points, and killing bosses and doing GSF, and I got about 20. I have 23,000 points. I'm not going to make it, but I cannot compete with a crafter in sheer points. If you load up every single one of your people in one day, you're done. You're 35,000 and plus.
For example, Vyrigan's struggling with his 23,000. He's struggling to even meet his personal goal because he isn't a crafter, and I have a crafting character, and I had a bunch of materials saved up, and I currently have 80,000 points on one character. I also have 80,000 points on another character, and don't even get me started on how many points Aravail has across all his characters. Probably close to 1 million.
So he can hit his goal.
I'll craft.
You don't have even the crafting
I
skills.
don't even have crafting skills.
You only need 100. You only need level 150.
But yeah, that's the thing, is they really should just overhaul the entire system, because the objectives now, first they favored crafting too heavily, now they're going to favor PvP too heavily.
Yeah.
Like, they need to make it so that it's actually worthwhile to do things besides the same activity over and over again.
I
so that
think
they actually give you a chance of winning.
Their initial goal with Conquest was to find a way that guilds could compete with each other and find a way to breathe new life into old content, because the old content is actually pretty new. Like, the old flashpoints are pretty cool, and we all know PvP is pretty cool already, and it's neat to go back to the old planets. And a cat is eating my face, sorry. It's neat to go back to the old planets and see the old areas that you have no reason to go back to because you're level 60 and they're like level 20. Right. And there's no incentive to go back, though. If you're playing a game, you probably like to do the thing where you make your character better, make you have more cooler stuff, and there's nothing without Conquest like that. And the problem with crafting, it's obviously not doing that. It's the whole crafting bomb thing was never intended, I don't think. But now they've switched it up too much. I don't know if they can really ever balance Conquest out the way they dreamed it to be. I don't think it's going to happen. It's been through too many changes, and we've found too many ways to exploit it.
Yeah, and I think all the guilds at this point who really wanted to get the titles kind of have done it by this point. Besides, I think a lot of people are in the same boat we are with having Rishi and Yavin, but besides those two, I think most of the larger guilds are done. And kind of that's also the sad point too, is that it really is without the crafting bombs, it was going to come, or it is going to come down to which guild just has more people who are online most of the time and probably PvPing, because like on Jungma, we were a smaller guild compared to a lot of our competitors, but because of the crafting bombs, we could save up for weeks and weeks and weeks, and then the 1 week we really did intend to try for conquest, we could like focus all of our efforts there, drop all the bombs we'd saved up, and actually have a fighting chance against guilds that were normally much larger than ours. But because of this, I liked it because it was kind of like an equalizer, whereas now the little tiny guild who might be super dedicated is not going to ever stand a chance against
Yeah,
larger
did
guilds
you
who
hear
can
there
just
was
drown them
a
out.
one-person guild that won a conquest all by themselves? They generated like 10 million points, I think it was, something
Wow.
really insane, and he did it all by himself. And that will obviously be possible with the new scheme of things. It's obviously not what they intended. If you're a guild conquering, it's not really meant for one person, but it was an interesting thing that you could achieve before.
Yeah, I know some people have been asking Bioware to like standardize it, like make it based on the amount of people you have in the guild. But if that happens, then you start like, that makes like conflict
we know
between
how
bad
well
people who
bolster
are in the
works.
guild not helping, and it just no matter what they do, it's going to have issues. So it's a weird system to juggle.
Yeah, like we have lots of people in our guild, but we really promote play how you want. So
Exactly.
like only 10% of the people might actually be doing conquest for the weekend. They might be generating billions and billions of points, but if it was some kind of bolster system, all that other 90%, it would be really, really sad. I wouldn't want to have to choose between having guild mates and being able to do conquest.
Yeah, it's like no matter what they do, it's going to be unfair for somebody, and so it kind of sucks being a medium-sized guild that we're probably not going to win the later conquest. But I mean, our original goal we set out to do was to get those 15 planets, and that's what we did. So I'm still really proud
Conqueror
of
of
us.
the
and
galaxy.
title or not, I mean, we can always, we can find other ways to get the title, but I still consider us all conquerors of the galaxy.
And we have done a tremendous, but keep in mind, when we first started this journey in Conquest, conquering a planet was not the idea. Like, remember? Do you remember we started this as like, we're not going to conquer a planet.
Oh,
But
yeah.
we were getting that
Yeah.
top 10.
And the second week, we
No.
were like fifth the entire week, and like the last week, or the last weekend, we figured out how many points you get from crafting. We were like doing the math, we're like, wait, is this right? And then
We
we
can
we queued up a bunch of
do
crafting bombs, and we came in second. We were all like so excited. That was a lot of fun.
And then there was the run to do it. And you know what? The other thing I was thinking of is the rewards for conquests are aimed at crafters. You get Jawa junk and crafting nodes, gathering nodes. That's what you get for winning conquests, right?
Yeah.
So
And
it is still crafting heavy. It's
It is. The unfortunate part is that the stuff you gain as rewards compared to like the
It's
amount
not
you
worth
would
as
get if you just sold all
much.
that mats. It's just not. It's not nearly cost effective.
So in my mind, the rewards for conquest are for my ego.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's
The titles
the
are really
title.
nice because they're exclusive. But
And the worst
other
part
than
is-
that, they're just like bonuses.
I don't even use the titles. I don't use them at all.
I don't either. I just want to have them though.
The best was like when you were like in a war zone with somebody you just beat the previous week, and like your entire group turns on their Conqueror of Tatooine title just to like rub it
remember
in.
doing that when conquest was still really early, and you'd be like, "Ha ha,
Yeah,
we're jerks."
we are, but they would have
So-
to us. So.
So now that we're looking at Conquest changing the way crafting is for Conquest, but crafting still has its uses. So one of the things you mentioned, and I actually have no clue what this is crafting gear. I've never even heard of this. What is
Oh, like-
crafting gear?
Well, what I mean by that is just gear you make by crafting. So,
Oh.
like, there's 6 different crew skills, and almost all of them have some part to play in crafting gear. Arms tech kind of sucks because it can only make barrels. That's like the only useful thing it makes, and certain types of augments. But like cyber tech can make mods and armorings. Artifice can make lightsaber hilts and enhancements. A lot of different crafting skills can make augments and augment kits, and biochem can of course make stims and implants and lots of other good stuff. So each crafting skill, no matter which one you have, there's probably some way you can make some money out of it, but depending on which skill it is and how the market is on your server, you may make lots of money or you may have to like fight for every credit you get.
So with the changes to companions and everything coming up in the new expansion, let's say I decide it's time to jump in this game. I'm tired of being broke. I'm not tired of being broke, but let's just say that I decide I want to play the crafting game. What would be a good starting point? And explain to what they've been talking about with the companions a little bit. And Scya, feel free to pipe in on this one as well, because you both know more about this than I do at all.
So right now, one of the ways crafters can make money is if you're just playing by yourself, there's a good chance you might want to augment up all your companions, because this is one more cool thing you can do, or at least your favorite companion that you like to go out with. You can get gear along the way. For example, Yavin gives some pretty good gear just right off the bat from doing the weekly dailies. And one of the easiest way to supplement that gear without having to go into 8-man operations, something that a lot of people don't like to do or don't have the time to do, is to get crafted gear. But companions are going to, in 4.0, no longer wear gear. They're not going to have gear that has stats. It's just going to be purely cosmetic, and how powerful they are, how much health they have, and how well they can defend you will be based on your own statistics.
See, I love that change. Just as a player, I like that change because like all my companions, because I rarely use them for things. So when I do use them for something, they're all wearing like level 50 gear, or
Yes.
Their default gear. It's like, oh, I don't want to. All the upkeep between so many characters and so many companions, it's just too much.
Is anyone else going to say bye-bye, Shriek?
Oh yeah,
everyone
you
can
won't
do
need her as much
everything.
anymore.
Yeah.
That's true.
But of course, now I feel bad that I farmed that 192 gear on Yavin.
Yeah.
So what if I was going to start crafting? And I'm not a crafter, but I'm a gatherer. I have slicing. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, slicing. I have slicing
Slicing is
on
good.
my mains because Yavin 4 is a stinking money yard. You just run through it,
Baby.
pick up saves.
Oh,
I love
yeah.
it. I get 100,000 credits easily in like half an hour just scouring Yavin 4.
Yeah.
What if I want to start crafting something though? What's a good combo? What's a good place to start that would actually be useful to me?
See, I always feel sorry for people when I'm like out there on Yavin, either gathering mats or like doing the slicing nodes, and I see people running around doing dailies. It's like I just want to like yell at them, like, no! Don't you realize you're getting so much more money that like a single node
I'm
you
the
gather is worth
idiot
more credits
who-
than the entire daily they are trying to do in 10 or 15 minutes.
I'm the idiot who does dailies because I tried doing the just gather thing and I got too bored too easily. So now I do a combo is I send my companion off to get the gathering nodes as I run between the different objectives.
I do that
Yeah,
with my slicer.
Yeah, whenever I do it, I have to like have like a TV show going, just like binge watch something on one TV, and then just run around aimlessly gathering mats on the other. But yeah, so there's a lot of different routes you can take. My recommendation is the easiest way to make money with crafting is to make augment kits because pretty much everybody buys augment kits, and there's always a market for them, and they sell pretty well, and they're not too complicated to make, and you can make them with, it's arms tech, armor mech, and synth weaving are the 3 skills you need. And
Pre
basically-
4.0, we don't know what's happening
Right, and
afterwards.
I assume it'll be the same after that because it's been every time they've upgraded the level cap, the augment kits have just upgraded with them. There's been a new tier of augments and a new tier of augment kits, so I would expect based on precedent it's going to be the same, but we don't know that for sure. But if it is, then as long as you have one of those 3 crafting skills and either scavenging, archaeology, or bioanalysis, you can either run around on a planet like Yavin. Yavin's probably the best one, and just gather mats, or you can send your companions out. And then what you basically do is you make those into, if you're biochem, you want to make them into, you can make them into implants, you can make it into earpieces, you can make it into gloves if you're an armor mech, pretty much any kind of non-mod in the game. And then if you reverse engineer those, you get an augment kit component. And then if you have 10 of those, you can craft the actual augment kit, which sells for, depends on your server, but it can be anywhere from like 45k to even like 70 or 80k on some of the smaller servers.
Okay, so I think I missed a step somewhere in there. So
Okay.
I make a pair of gloves. I'm an armor tech. I make a pair of gloves.
Mm-hmm.
How do I get from that to an MK kit?
So you reverse engineer that, like you would reverse engineer if you were trying to research schematics.
Okay, which
The little symbol
actually,
in your inventory.
all right. So complete crafting noobs. What is reverse engineering? I'm not kidding. I'm zero. And
It's
there's some people
basically
who
when
don't do it.
the original purpose of it was that you would reverse engineer like a simple piece, like a green piece, and by doing that you had a chance to learn a schematic for an improved version of that piece. But what they did later on when they added augment kits is if you reverse engineer any of those types of pieces I mentioned before, an earpiece, a glove, implant, anything like that, basically anything except like a hilt or an enhancement, those things don't count. But if you are a regular gear piece that you've crafted, it has to be a crafted piece, then along with the other mats you have a chance of getting back, you get one augment kit mark 1 through 11, depending on how good the gear is. So if you make the top tier gloves or whatever item it is, which I would recommend, then you'll get a single mark 11 augment kit component from that reverse engineering. And then once you have 10 of those... Good.
I never thought about how little sense that made, like in
It
roleplay.
really doesn't.
You make a pair of gloves, you take it apart, and you learn how to make a better one. Okay, that's pretty fair. But no, this system is, you make a pair of gloves, you take it apart, and you find a little random piece that you think is really good,
Right,
and you
it's
keep
like,
it.
didn't
And
you
then you
put that
make
piece
9
inside?
more gloves, and take them all apart, and then you make a box that you can glue on your other gear and put augment
Lore-wise, it
inside
makes zero sense whatsoever, but yeah, so then you basically, to make a kit, you need 10 of those little components. That's one of the ingredients. And a couple other random cheap components, too. And then once you make the kit, you sell it and make lots of money.
Okay. Because to me, it's like, okay, I bought a bookshelf. I put it together. I have 7 screws left over. I'll use these to make a screw man.
It was more like you take
No,
apart
but you
the
had to
bookshelf
take
and then you
apart
find
the
a
shelf,
special
too.
screw that you never knew you put in there, but somehow it just appears, and then you make that into something cool. It's really weird.
So, for those of you who've never done crafting, know that I stand with you, and I'm scratching my head right now saying, what in the world is this?
I actually have a video guide up on, see, shameless plug for my YouTube channel. Go to my, or just YouTube, like, with Yavin 4 farming, and I wrote a little guide in the description there about how to just farm mats all day on Yavin 4, make them into augment kits, and then sell them for lots of quick money.
Plus, I'm going to do a shameless plug as well. Our Twitter feed, ROH SWOTOR, I often will post little videos as I find cool ones. Not so much the PvPs, but like these other side things or cool events from Aravail's library to our Twitter feed, so feel free to follow us there as well. So something that can make money, something can make augment kits, so I'm with you now. I'm following. So I make a pair of gloves, I take them apart, I find magical screws, and I make augment kits. 10 augment kits. 10 pieces, 10 magical pieces from the gloves I made from my own 2 hands. 10 magical pieces makes an augment kit.
Exactly.
Okay. And from there, if you want to understand augment kits, that's a different episode. Pretty much it's an excuse
I could do a whole episode on augment kits.
It's an excuse to add extra stats to a piece of gear.
Yep.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, and you can make other stuff too. You can make, if you're like an artifice, you can make enhancements or lightsaber hilts. If you're a biochem, you can make and sell stims. You can make and sell implants. There's all kinds of stuff you can make, and just find your own little niche. And you'll probably have some competition if you're on a larger server, but hopefully not too much, where you can still make a good profit off of them.
Not too shabby. All right, so that will fill us out for our talk of crafting, conquest, and coffee. Once coffee comes out, we will look back at the crafting changes, and we're going to have a bit of a gap here between this episode and the next one. Next one's going to be kind of a special one, and we'll get to that hopefully next time. So thank you, Aravail, for joining us for this little tidbit. Thank you for helping us out. So with that, I am pleased to say we have another episode of the Chronicles of the Coruscant Courier Service for you. Coda has come through yet again with a fantastic episode, and so right now I want you to just go ahead and sit back, relax, and enjoy. Previously on the Chronicles of the Coruscant Courier Service.
Look, I hate the Empire just as much as the next guy, but there's no good guys and bad guys here. There isn't even winners and losers. There's just losers. This is war, not a picnic. As far as I'm concerned, both the Republic and the Empire are to blame.
Who's the princess now?
Oh, shove it. Hey, what you got for me?
Hey guys, we've got an address for the drop, but no starting address. You could end this right now, but I have a feeling dropping off the package won't solve all our problems.
Probably not, but it is a start.
See what you can get from the drop site, but don't get involved in anything.
Copy that.
Why not be a courier?
Excuse me?
I didn't mean to offend, it's just... You referred to the desk work resentfully. If you didn't like it, why not deliver?
You need to stop jumping to conclusions.
I went to school to get a job to get money. I now have all that, and I realized I missed so much along the way. I have no friends, I don't talk to my family, and now I might not have a job. But the what I'm trying to get the most right now? A friend. The job doesn't matter as much as what you think of me right now, and I don't know why.
Tilith?
Don't feel sorry for me. I don't want that. I want a friend.
I used to be a courier at my branch. I delivered opposite Jarrow and his partner.
With Ollie, right?
Right. Well, Ollie and I got real close and things started happening. I found him selling a package we received that day to someone.
Black market?
Probably.
Just like Schaefer.
I shot them both.
Ollie was gonna shoot you?
I thought so at the time, but now I know that he wasn't.
How?
He was carrying this on him.
A ring.
He was going to propose.
Clips,
Yeah?
is it okay to hug you now?
Yeah.
Why aren't they answering?
I don't know, but I don't...
Ah!
Shut up! There's no one there.
Look, over there's some guy on the floor.
Grant, no!
Why? He could be hurt.
Because dead guys don't move around. Get down! Get down!
What the hell?
You alright, kid?
Yeah.
Alright, stay under that window.
Okay.
I got one, but the others are just around the corner.
Okay. Ah!
You okay?
Yeah.
Then stop the damn screaming!
I've never been in a combat situation before. It's very stressful.
Imagine how stressful it is for me when you keep screaming.
Fair enough.
Damn.
What?
I can't see him from here. Can you pop up and shoot him?
Nope.
Listen, kid, just hop up and blast away. You can't miss him.
Nope.
You have to. I'm gonna count to 3. Ready?
Nope.
1,
Nope.
3, fire!
Nope. Ah! What's that noise?
You're out of ammo! Duck!
Oh my. Oh wow. Okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. Did I get him?
I don't know.
Did I get you?
Oh, my arm! Ah, my arm! You shot me in the arm!
I think you might have got him.
Oh.
Isn't that your comlink?
Yeah, don't worry about it.
That's like the 3rd time it's gone off. Is everything okay?
Yeah, it's the security detail from the office. They don't know I left and they're trying to get in touch. I figure it's safer not to answer.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Have you heard from the guys at all?
No, but I'm sure they're fine.
Look! They're back! They just docked the speeder!
Oh, my arm! My arm!
Who's your friend?
Oh, this guy? Yeah. This is Oh My Arm.
Aw, cute!
Yeah, he's a charmer.
You shot me. I'm gonna die.
What? Are you nuts? Why would you bring him back here?
Answers, my dear Tillith. Answers. I want him, and he's got him. Plus, he shot at us.
Wait, where's Grant?
Princess is getting the package. You know, he did pretty good. He's actually the one that shot this guy. You taught him well.
Yeah?
Yeah, I can see you in the way he shoots.
How do you mean?
Well, he whines a lot.
Idiot.
Come on. I'll help you get him back into the back room. We can tie him up there.
I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. I can see the light.
Oh, shut up.
You know, just because blaster bolts cauterize most of the wound doesn't mean there's no blood. He got some on the seat. Oh, hey, Calypse.
Hey, I heard you got shot at.
Oh, yeah.
You okay?
Me? Oh, I'm fine. You know how they say when the bolts fly, the adrenaline kicks in, and you know exactly what to do.
Yeah?
That's what happened. As calm as ever, and I shot that guy.
Yeah?
Yup.
I'm proud of you.
Well, thanks.
Jera said you cried.
Damn it.
Don't worry about it. All men cry sometimes.
Thanks.
Princess.
Oh, come on.
Relax. I'm kidding.
I know. Hey, you know what?
What?
That moment kind of felt like we were back in the office.
Yeah, it did.
How you holding up?
I'll be alright. What about you?
Honestly, I'm hungry.
What?
I'm hungry. I haven't eaten a good meal since this all started. I'm really feeling it. Why don't we grab something to eat?
Yeah, okay, I could eat.
Alright, the armed guy is all tied up, and he's knocked out.
I'll stitch up his wound while he's out.
We were gonna go grab a bite to eat. You guys wanna come?
Sure,
No, that's okay. You guys go. I have to stitch him up, and Gerald's got to question him when he wakes up. Just bring us back something.
Yeah, what she said.
Okay, sounds good.
What was that all about?
Both of them are adjusting to the situation. I say we give them some downtime alone. Plus, we've got work to do.
Yeah, fair enough. Call me in when he wakes up.
And we're back, and that was another fantastic episode, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this continues on. Now we're about to get to the point now we have to record another stint of episodes. This is the last in the series we had recorded. Do not fear, we are going to record the rest of the season, and then hopefully, my plan is once we get the entire season done, season 1, we'll put it on one big episode and just give it to you as a continuous story, so you can recap the entire story. And of course, every Coruscant Courier Service I try to fill you in from the last episode. But for that's going to be it for this episode. If you'd like to join us on the Ebon Hawk server, look for our Republic Guild, Remnants of Hope. You can find guild information at rementsofhope.com and follow the guild on Twitter at ROHSOTOR. This and other episodes of our podcast can be found at hopecastgamers.com, and you can email the show to our new email address, hopecastgamers@gmail.com, and subscribe to us on iTunes. And with that, I'm Vyrigan.
I'm Scya.
And I'm Aravail.
And until next time, may the Force be with you. And hey guys, you gotta come to my stronghold, check out this new bookshelf I made. Oh wait, it's wrong, I gotta take it apart. Oh wait, I found an astromech droid. That's just crafty for you guys. See you next time.
I was so expecting a screwing joke.
I was.
I didn't want to screw.
Look at this! Look what I found in my bookcase. Okay, I'm gonna stop.
Yeah, that's good.
You have been listening to the Star Wars Hopecast, part of the Remnants of Hope gaming community.